First off, thank you to the brave firefighters who continue to keep Nebraskans safe. After a year of already historic wildfires, the South Fork fire has burned over 39,000 acres with about 75% containment. This week, Nebraska was able to secure a FEMA grant that should help with local efforts. I'll keep supporting our firefighters and local authorities. My prayers are with them. Together, Nebraskans will rebuild. Second, on Iran. I appreciate the Trump administration's continued efforts to negotiate a diplomatic solution with Iran. It is important that the Straits of Hormuz remain open. Subsequently, we should see the price of goods that go through the strait drop. This includes gas and fertilizer. From the beginning, President Trump has said Operation Epic Fury had a short, limited timeline. President Trump's goal was to make sure Iran's terrorist regime could never have a nuclear weapon. We need to make sure that never happens. Finally, as you all know, Nebraska is the best place in the world to live. Earlier this year, U.S. News & World Report ranked Omaha as the second best city for recent college grads to live. This is great news. It also emphasizes the work we need to continue to do to increase housing stock. More homes mean more housing is more affordable. The average age of a first-time home buyer is now about 40 years old across the country. Just a decade ago, the average first-time home buyer was 31. Red tape and regulations are driving up the cost of housing. This makes it more difficult for first-time homebuyers. By one estimate, regulations account for nearly 25% of the cost of a single-family home. For a typical apartment development, it's even worse. Regulations account for 40% of the cost. One Nebraska apartment builder told me he used to be able to build apartments for about $15,000 per unit. And now it costs them over $200,000 per unit. Now, this is not a new issue. When I was governor, I took steps to address this. We passed the Rural Workforce Housing Bill. We created a $7 million Rural Workforce Housing Fund and later added $10 million more to it. Nebraska communities applied for grants, typically to make low-interest loans. These funds helped home builders come to a rural community to build houses and apartment buildings. They help cover construction costs, down payment assistance, and technical assistance. This program was simple and successful. As senator, I'm advocating for this proven Nebraska solution for the rest of the country. I'm working with my Republican colleagues to make it easier to build homes. This week, my Senate Republican colleagues and I are voting on the 21st Century Road to Housing Act. My Senate Banking Committee colleagues and I already passed this out of committee. That vote was bipartisan and unanimous. When we pass it on the Senate floor, I look forward to applauding Chairman Scott for his leadership on this bill. The House has passed its own version of it as well. We're taking the best parts of the Senate bill and the best parts of the House bill to make sure we give the American people the best product to make housing more affordable. The Senate and House should vote on this bill again and then send it to the President's desk to be signed into law. The 21st Century Road to Housing Act puts us on a path to make home ownership more affordable. The housing bill includes many of my bipartisan bills, including Streamlining Rural Housing Act, which will enhance efficiency and lower costs. Housing projects often draw both the Department of Housing and Urban Development money, or HUD, and the U.S. Department of Agriculture, USDA, for a portion of their funding. They have overlapping review and permitting processes. My bill would consolidate these. That way, housing developers only have to do them once. This will help us build more homes faster by getting the money out the door faster. I have led efforts on 3 additional bills included in the Road to 21st Century Housing Act that will help government leverage programs and processes that we already have. This includes the Rural Housing Regulatory Relief Act to streamline NEPA reviews. It also includes my Improving Housing Access Act and my Housing for America's Middle Class Act. I also have 2 bills to support veterans, the VA Home Loan Awareness Act and the Veterans Affairs Loan Informed Disclosure, or VALID Act, to better inform veterans of the VA Home Loan Program and make veterans housing more accessible by helping educate veterans about these programs. I also have co-sponsored the bipartisan Rural Housing Service Reform Act to improve existing loans, grants, and rental assistance to rural communities. We want to support hardworking Americans. Improving housing access across Nebraska is just one piece of how we are making the good life more affordable. Senate Republicans are fighting to make homeownership more attainable for all Nebraskans. Cutting through bureaucratic red tape and increasing efficiency will increase housing stock and make housing more affordable. That's why I'm fighting to get the 21st Century Road to Housing Act signed into law.